between those three. Don't forget about Luke Bennett as well. He's got some very good speed and can very much play a role.
Will he play the team game?
Who does he play the team game for? He's got 2 horses in this race. So it's very difficult to know what to do. If I was him, I would come in the pit lane now and just forget about it because I'd be scared. But anyway, he wants to race and so do we. Out of the final corner, the Esports World Cup Drivers' Championship will be decided here. Race 9 on day 1 here in Riyadh as the drivers come up towards the line again. For the 9th time today, the lights go out and we're racing again. At the front of the field, Kevin Siggy converts pole position into a turn 1 lead with Max Benneker in 2nd place. Can he hold on to that position ahead of Luke Bennett and Sebastian Job, who go side by side into that first braking zone of the race?
Yeah, they do. 2 red line drivers line astern. It's Sebastian Job and Luke Bennett. Does one of them, though, give up the place? Job, of course, on the line to become champion, and he'll want to do it the right way with a victory. Will Bennett allow him to go on his pursuit? As you can see, they're still side by side coming through Curva Parabolica, and look at this run from Kevin Ellis Jr., who's not alone. He's got Yuri Toman also in behind as well. A little tap in the back of Bennett's car. Sebastian Job still in 3rd place, but also Kevin Ellis Jr. moving ahead of Toman. He's up to 5th.
I think the best idea here for Bennett now would be to defend from Kevin Ellis Jr. and just let the front 3 decide it between themselves. Trust Siggy and Job to do the job and win it, bring it home for Team Redline, who, don't forget, have never had a driver win an individual championship before. They didn't win the team's championship here in Riyadh last year either. This is would be uncharted territory for them. Certainly uncharted territory for Kevin Siggy, who's never been as close as this.
No, not at all. A former single-seater champion, Kevin Siggy, has been synonymous with sim racing now for such a long time. It all started when he was 12 years of age. He's now 25. Now nearly over half of his life has been spent behind the wheel of a simulator. He has got Max Benneker, who too has had a lengthy term behind the wheel of simulators alike. All of these drivers are synonymous with victory, success in sim racing. Benneker himself competing with Team Redline many moons ago, and he has got 2 of them joining him in finalist mode and currently sit either side of him in this standing that we're seeing as we now go racing here at Hockenheim. Siggy now exits coming out of the first sector through towards Curva Parabolica once more. Benneker is currently sat 0.6 of a second in behind with Sebastian Job, who has gone on a record run of Porsche Carrera Cup victories and also has gone on to become a sim driver for the Red Bull team. An absolute sensation where it comes to simulator racing. Now here, back again for Team Redline, this time after a stellar season with G2 last year since announcing his arrival in ESL R1, and now once again he is on the cusp of greater success.
Interesting decision to make here immediately for Sebastian Job. Does he attack Max Benneker to help his teammate, or does he stick him behind for his own interest? We may have just got our answer on the way down in towards turn number 8. That was a little bit of a move from Sebastian Job, possibly to help his teammate, possibly to help himself, but I just feel if you're going to fight for second, you will allow the leader to get away.
Well, you would have thought so. Siggy, though, in this stage, I mean, if Job can't afford for it to stay like this, because Siggy will take the title as it stands. Regardless of whether you have more points, it will not help you come the end of this race. Siggy is in charge, Benneker in second, and waiting for his own opportunity in a very big moment. A tap on the head that Sebastian Job gives himself, just saying, wake up, Sebi, wake up. Coming out to the final bend, very nearly oversteering the car, and it could have been Spin City.
Oh, it's falling away from him from 4 consecutive victories. It's all of a sudden feeling a very long time ago for Sebastian Job, who made a very uncharacteristic error on the way out of turn 16, the final corner. Just got caught up on that curb, slid about a bit and saved it, thankfully, but it was very close to seeing his title chances end there and then. It's a good job he's got Luke Bennett behind him, because otherwise he would have been under attack in towards the hairpin. He won't be under attack again. It's the dream scenario really for Job if he was to be in third. I mean, I'm sure he'd rather be in the lead, but the fact Bennett's behind him is such a relief, surely.
Well, he doesn't want his vulnerability to show now. I mean, what a time to do it when you're in the final race to decide the Drivers' Championship. Now is not the time. Making mistakes coming out of turn 16. Let's take a look at the replay at the start. Side by side, it got a bit hectic because Kevin Ellis Jr. was trying to break through, and he did have as well a Team Vitality car up his inside. The Audi R8 LMS was trying to look for an opportunity coming out towards the Parabolica. The 2 red line drivers were side by side through the entirety of the first sector pretty much as well. We saw Job and Bennett pretty much manacled through the first few corners.
That was what we were saying. Yeah, in towards turn 2, there was quite some diving going on down there in towards those corners. There is the face of Sebastian Job. Goodness, what must be going through his head at the moment? I can't imagine it. To break a record like that, consecutive victories, not only just in at all, on a LAN event as well, unbelievable, and now it's slipping away from him.
And you can see him mouthing words to himself. I think he's getting, that frustration is starting to fester inside his head right now. And you speak about the fact that these drivers have got to maintain composure, as we now see Johan Harth in the distance having bringing the fight now to Josh Rogers. Managed to get past Josh Rogers as well. Really having a tough day at the office is the Porsche Coanda driver. Coming here, how can you go from winning 3 rounds in succession leading up to the Esports World Cup for it all to fall apart at the crucial moment?
It's unbelievable, really is. Down in towards the hairpin goes Darren McCormack as he tries to get through on Yuri Toman. He's in a fight with Luke Bennett and Josh Rogers for the 4th placed championship standing here today. At the moment, Bennett would be vaulting over McCormack if things were to stay as they are right now. That's why McCormack is looking so keenly on the back of Yuri Toman here on lap 4. Down in towards turn 8 they go now. Up on the brakes, and we're getting into a Hockenheim situation again. We were doing the race that Sebastian Job dominated from start to finish. There wasn't all that much change, so what can these guys even do from this situation to rip this away from Kevin Siggy?
Well, Job needs to do something different because he doesn't want the status quo to remain as it is, because Kevin Siggy's going to win the title. Could go Benneke's way, and we've seen what Benneke can do. Look what he did to Darren McCormack back at Monza to take victory on that occasion. If he does that now to Kevin Siggy, that will, of course, advance his charge to becoming champion. But like he was saying, obviously, what do the other guys need to do? Luke Bennett, of course, though, is going to be the stopgap in between Job and Kevin Ellis Jr. So as far as Kevin's concerned, it's going to be so tricky to get past Luke Bennett because he's going to be doing the Team Redline favours.
This is quite a tense situation. I can feel it from here. We're not even in the arena, and I can feel the tension that is coming from it just next door.
Cut it with a knife.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. It is all on the line here. It's the 9th race of the Esports World Cup Drivers' Championship, and it will end here. Finalist mode days where there is no limit on the amount of races are over. We are now at a 9-race limit, and that has forced the hand of these finalist mode drivers, who in fairness have turned up anyway, and all 3 of them are in the podium positions as things stand. But there is the driver in the top right who can really change this. Max Benneke can catch Kevin Siggy and bring this race to life if indeed he has the speed to do so. And around this circuit, we know it's not that difficult to catch or indeed overtake.
No, we're beyond the halfway point now in this race, halfway through lap 5 of 10. Sebastian Job still nursing a gap of 7/10. It's fairly equal between Benneke's 2 opponents. Of course, the one in front, Kevin Siggy, around 7/10 away. Sebastian Job around the same. In fact, it's starting to drop within 7/10 of a second now as they swing through the ending stage of this lap. Of course, Sachs curve, and then coming through towards Sud curve out of turn 15 and 16. Still Siggy in control and holds the fastest lap of the race. Doesn't even need the slipstream to make that happen. I mean, what this would mean to him to win this title. If we look back 12 months ago, we saw his anger and frustration there on show at Gamers 8. But now, a very different set of affairs. Maybe the bump on the head has done him a favour.
Give him a knock into life. Yeah, maybe. It's a good theory. He's certainly doing well for the moment. And one other interesting thing, actually, by the way, so many unique things about this. But actually, one other thing I think that is maybe says more about the way this event has unfolded compared to some of the others. If Kevin Siggy or Max Benneke were to win this, then that would be the first time the driver with not the most points has won. Yeah. Normally, finalist mode gives that chance to drivers who don't have quite as many points to win, because if this was a regular championship, Sebastian Job would be home and dry by this stage. But he's not, because a race win can change the game. However, in the first 3 events, Marcel Cinchik, Max Benneke and Josh Rogers all had the most points anyway. So actually, it didn't change the overall champion. This would change the game. This would allow someone without the most points to win the title as a whole. And I think that's a really unique and an interesting thing about this format we've never seen before.
Yeah, and it raises questions about how clinical drivers are as well. Because when we look at Sebastian Job, the amount of opportunity he had prior to any of the other drivers becoming part of finalist mode, you know, we haven't seen anyone else being able to be, well, no one else has been in quite the same position as Sebastian Job, because he's had so many races where he has had the opportunity to take the championship. Kevin Siggy has only had it for what? Well, is it I think it's just this race now. And now he has an opportunity to do it in one race, which I'm sure is something Sebastian Jobe would have loved to have done a long time ago.
Yeah, absolutely. He's had plenty of chances to do so. It was at this circuit where he got into finalist mode for the very first time for race 6. He's been in finalist mode now for a 4th race. That's the tied most of anybody's ever achieved. Marcel Chinchik also had that in Munich back for the spring major. So, yeah, it was a tied most for Jobe, excuse me. Siggy and Beneke, only the one. I'm not sure if we've had only the one before. Maybe we have, but I need to stop going on statistics that I'm not really sure of the details of. But anyway, he's certainly only had one this time round, and he is currently delivering. However, that gap there just looked a bit smaller to me. Look at the timing screen. It's now half a second. Is Beneke just starting to wind this up and put that pressure on Siggy in the final 3 laps?
Just a little bit of race management, I think, on part of Max Beneke. Not too concerned about really making a very early charge. He had plenty of laps where he could sit behind. We still have 3 more to go. Siggy just nursing his car along out in front. Sebastian Jobe has actually stolen the fastest lap away from Kevin Siggy as well. Luke Bennett is dropping further and further back now, 0.5 of a second away from his teammate in 3rd place. Beneke's starting to lurch closer, and Siggy is going to be very watchful in that rear view mirror because he knows exactly what Beneke is capable of. And if we take a look at some of Beneke's form over the past successive times, obviously in history, we've seen lots from the man representing Mouse. Of course, was a round winner back at Orchard Road in round 2 during the course of the team's championship, and since then has taken victories in Hockenheim in quarter-final action and semi-final action in the Drivers' Championship where we went to visit during Drivers' Championship round 1. So it's not like it's alien form from Max Beneke.
On board with Yuri Toman at the moment, who's just trying to hold on from Dara McCormack. Toman trying to stay ahead of Kaki Oliveira in the Drivers' Championship, and at the moment is doing enough to achieve that with 6th position in this race. There is a look at Luke Bennett, who's just in behind Sebastian Jobe, trying to catch up to those front 2. Beneke is getting that little bit closer though, and how must it be to be Kevin Siggy at the moment with all that pressure on him? He's, again, never been in finalist mode before. Beneke has. He knows what it feels like. He knows what it feels like to do it here. There must be so much pressure on the Slovenian now.
No doubt. All the way from Maribor in Slovenia, as you so rightly say there, Ewan. But again, a driver who harbours a lot of experience, has spent over half of his life competing at the highest level. Still out in front by just over 0.5 of a second. Maximilian Beneke, who hails from Germany. This would be a home win for Max Beneke, should he be successful here at Hockenheim Ring. And he's starting to certainly aim to feather his own nest. We're on lap 8 of 10. The next lap around will be the penultimate lap of the race. And no doubt Beneke is going to be asking the major questions of Kevin Siggy. And despite his favourite racetrack being Spa, Kevin Siggy, this is a vastly different concern with it being so flat. No elevation changes here, apart from the time where you fly over the curbs, as these drivers have done so, heading through turn 1. Can Siggy bring it home, Ewan?
He's got just 2 laps to do it. This is a very tense situation indeed, and I don't know which way this is going to go at all. Kevin Siggy is under huge pressure here from Max Beneke, who is applying that to the best of his abilities, but we know it's relatively difficult to overtake round here. It's not quite like the Nürburgring or Orchard Road that we've had in previous editions of ESL R1 competition. However, it is one of those that is a little bit tricky as well. So Max Beneke is going to have to work on this. Right up to the back of him through the hairpin that time, almost touching him, going on to this final lap in a few moments' time. This is it for the World Cup. This is what it comes down to.
Yeah, just a few reminders gifted to Kevin Siggy from Max Beneke saying, listen, I am still here, with those glowing yellow eyes now peering in the back of Kevin Siggy's rearview mirror. Max Beneke is starting to roam closer. He is within 0.5. He's closing up to 4, and they're coming in towards the Mobile 1 curve, and a trip through Sachs will then tee up a run through the final couple of bends on this circuit layout before they venture on to the final lap. Kevin Siggy, who has led all the way so far from start to finish. It's been a stellar performance from the man from Maribor, but now this time the German is starting to close up to the back of him in a bid to become champion at the very track that sits within his own homeland, to become a home race winner. here on this occasion to make it win number 3 in the Esports World Cup and settle down Kevin Siggy.
Oh.
But first and foremost, they've got to get through the first few corners.
I don't think that was a good run through turn 1 for Beneke. I just heard him lift off slightly through the opening corner there on the exit. This is it now. Lap 10 of 10. This is the World Cup. This is for the World Cup now for Max Beneke. Is he close enough to Kevin Siggy to rip this away from the Team Redline driver? The first Redline driver to win the Individual Drivers' Championship in ESL R1, down into the best overtaking opportunity on the lap, and it doesn't happen for him.
Well, let's just say, coming out of the hairpin, the momentum still favouring Kevin Siggy, but Beneke is still very much there. It has been a long stretch since Siggy last won a race here tonight. Of course, last time he won was at Spa in our opening race, but this time around, Beneke is going to try and ensure that he has a chance to make it victory number 3, but Siggy is doing a tremendous job of marshalling this gap, ensuring it stays above 4 tenths, or at worst 3.5 tenths, as they now fly through Mobile 1 curve for the final time. It's Siggy on top, looking to take this crown, and his first ESL R1 crown.
And the first race he's ever been in finalist mode for. It's unbelievable. Kevin Siggy won at the start of the day at Spa. Now all of a sudden he's got a chance to win here at the Hockenheim Ring and take the whole thing. Out the final corner he goes. Kevin Siggy is the Esports World Cup Drivers' Champion here at the Hockenheim Ring. He puts his hands to his head. He can't really believe it. Max Beneke couldn't quite get there in time, and Siggy has done it.
Take a bow, Kevin Siggy. The magnificence came all the way from Maribor in Slovenia, and it's taken victory for Team Redline here at Hockenheim Ring, beating back the legend that is Max Beneke. And in behind, Sebastian Job, who had endless opportunity to take it for himself.